Congratulations on your election to the Student Representative Assembly. You are about to embark on a truly amazing experience. Being an elected representative of students is an empowering and humbling experience. Never forget the influence you have and your incredible potential to influence the quality of student life on campus. The MSU is a huge and complex organization, and you are now in charge of helping to steer the ship. We hope the following videos will help in your transition into the role, your projects, and goals as an Assembly member. Good luck! The Student Representative Assembly, SRA, is made up of 31 elected members of the MSU, divided into academic divisions, as well as the 4 board of directors. The SRA is the policy-making body of the MSU, appoints all standing committees, and elects the vice presidents and speaker of the MSU. The SRA has the power to create, alter, or repeal MSU bylaws, operating policies, or policy statements. Members of the SRA also serve as the full members of McMaster Students Union Incorporated and CFMU Radio Incorporated. This distinction will be an important fact when we talk about the annual budget. More on that later. As an Assembly member, you must maintain the dignity of the Assembly with respect to the Constitution, bylaws, and policies, be informed of and prepared for all meetings, respect fellow SRA members both in and outside of meetings, promote the activities of the MSU, participate in at least one standing committee or the Executive Board, and contribute to the success of your caucus's year plans. It sounds like a lot of work, but what does this actually mean for you? To explain all of this, you should first know how an SRA meeting runs. In general, SRA meetings follow the same format, which is outlined on the agenda. The Speaker chairs SRA meetings and will guide the Assembly through each item listed on the agenda. You may only speak to issues that are currently before the Assembly. For example, if you are in question period, you may not begin to debate any of the items of business. You need to wait until that item of business is before the Assembly. How do you speak at an SRA meeting? First, raise your hand. The Speaker will make eye contact with you and nod, which is a cue for you to know that you have been added to the Speakers list. This is the order in which members will speak to the motion or issue on the floor. The Speaker will recognize you when it is your turn to speak. Please stand up when addressing the Assembly and speak clearly for the recording secretary. Direct all comments through the chair. This means that you do not address another member directly by their name or their actions. This goes back to our earlier point that as an Assembly member, you must respect your fellow Assembly members. Now that you know how to speak at an SRA meeting, you're probably wondering how you can make a motion, make changes to the business item being discussed, have a coffee break, or ask for other Assembly members to be quiet. We use Robert's Rules of Order, as it provides a common set of rules and procedures by which business at the SRA is conducted. While the Assembly controls all business, Robert's Rules dictates that this business will be deliberated in a full and fair manner. There are a number of rules that you will use frequently, so please take some time to familiarize yourself with them. Point of personal privilege pertains to noise, personal comfort, or welfare of other members. For example, if you feel that other members are being too noisy, you may rise on a point of personal privilege.
I just want to talk in favor of making a rink on campus. I definitely think it would be important and critical to do.
Point of personal privilege.
The chair recognizes member 1.
Can the Speaker remind the members that it is difficult to hear when there are side conversations going on?
Thank you, member 1. The chair reminds all members that to please give their undivided attention to the Speaker, and if they would like to make a comment germane to the motion, they can do so by being added to the Speakers list. Notice how the member directed their comment through the chair instead of addressing the Assembly directly. This is proper decorum. Always address comments through the chair. This reduces the risk of Assembly members feeling like they are being personally attacked by another member. If you are ever unsure about what is being debated on the floor, or if you need more clarification, you do not need to be on the speakers list to get your answer. You should rise on a point of information. A point of information is used to ask the chair a question that provides more information.
Yeah, so on the table right now is a motion to approve the General Assembly bylaw, and we think it's a great bylaw to pass because it has all the rules.
Point of information.
Chair recognizes member 2.
Will these bylaw changes take place immediately?
The motion states that these bylaw changes would take effect April 1st.
Thank you.
Mr. J. Singham.
So as I was saying,
Assembly members need to be informed of the debate occurring. If you're ever confused, chances are so is someone else in the Assembly. Please do not be afraid to ask for clarification. You do not need to wait until your name is called on the speakers list to rise on a point of information. Your first few SRA meetings will likely go quite long. It is rude to just get up and leave the meeting in the middle of debate to grab food or coffee. Your fellow Assembly members would also like the opportunity to grab a coffee. Wait until you have finished the item of business and make a motion to recess.
I'd like to move that we recess for 10 minutes.
In most cases, your motion will need a seconder before it can be put before the Assembly. This means that there must be one other person who thinks the motion warrants the Assembly's attention. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Mr. Member 2. Member 1. The mover and seconder of all motions will have the first opportunity to speak to the motion. This is where you would state the merits of the Assembly voting for or against the motion.
Would like some coffee.
Member 2.
I'd actually like to amend the motion so that it's 15-minute recess, just so we can get more coffee and more.
If you don't like the motion proposed, there are a number of ways to change it. One of the ways is to amend the motion to something more favorable. An amendment always requires a seconder. There's a motion to amend the motion. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Member 3. Member 1. Member 2.
I think it's absolutely vital and crucial that we have a 15-minute break versus a 10-minute break. I think it's deplorable that anyone would even bring up a 10-minute recess, but yes, 15 minutes I think is good.
Member 3?
I think it's actually deplorable that someone would try to have a 15-minute recess when a 10-minute recess is perfectly sufficient. Union Market is still open. It takes approximately 2 minutes to maybe slowly walk there. And I think we're not really here to focus on our coffee interests. We're here to get democratic things pushed forward. And I think 10 minutes is perfectly fine, and the extra 5 minutes is just a way to keep us from getting home sooner. So I'd really encourage you all to oppose this motion.
Is there any debate on the motion? The chair always provides the Assembly the opportunity to debate the motion. It is important to keep your comments germane or on point of the motion being discussed. If another member makes the same point you are going to make, use your ditto card located on the back of your nameplate. It will keep the conversation relevant. After the discussion, the chair will call for a vote. Seeing none, all those in favor to amend the motion to read 15-minute recess? Those in favor? 3. Those opposed? 3. Those abstaining? Wishing to be noted? None. The motion fails. What just happened is that the amendment to recess for 15 minutes did not pass. Now we go back to the main motion, which the Assembly still needs to vote on. The Assembly can only consider one motion at a time and only one amendment at a time. For instance, if someone had made a motion to recess for 5 minutes during the previous debate, it would have been out of order to discuss. However, at this point, someone could make another amendment. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the main motion. It is moved by Member 1, seconded by Member 2, that the Assembly recess for 10 minutes. Do we have any debate on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion at hand to recess for 10 minutes? 4, all those opposed? None, all those abstaining and wishing to be noted? Long, D'Angela? Thank you, the motion passes. It is important to note that in every instance, you need to wait to be recognized by the chair before you begin to speak. There are many procedural motions that you may use as an Assembly member to conduct business. You are not expected to know them all off by heart. That's why we have the Speaker. If you're not sure of what point of to rise on, just ask. The Speaker and your fellow members are here to help. If you haven't done so already, come check out an SRA meeting to see all the action and get a feel for how things are going to run. Also, take a minute to go over some of the helpful documents posted on the SRA portion of the MSU website. Lastly, ask questions. The best people to contact are the Speaker and the Vice President Administration.